Was the property built before 1967? That's the first question you should be asking an agent if you're considering to buy a property in Italy. Ciao, buongiorno, I'm Ajaz and I'm excited to have you join me on this channel, Expat Ajaz in Italy. I have 40 plus years of combined property experience in the UK and Italy, and therefore I feel reasonably well positioned to provide you with upfront knowledge in respect to real estate topics in Italy. So turning to this question and why it's important, I'm going to read something out in a moment from ChatGPT, but essentially, if a property was built before 1967, then there's more risk that there'll be the documentation connected with the property is either missing or patchy or rather sketchy. And if that is the case, then the notary or notaio, who's the advocate or lawyer who conducts property transactions, will be unable to proceed with that because by law, the notary needs to have the evidence which is unambiguous and proves that the property did, as a matter of fact and degree, exist before 1967. If a property is new, for example, and was built in 2020, then, obviously, by that time, certain databases have been established since 1967. The land registry is more formalized, and so with the control, there'll for sure be the documentation available for a property, and if it wasn't, then that would be extremely worrying. I'm going to read this out now regarding properties or that were built before 1967, okay? So in 1967, Italy introduced national urban planning laws to address the rapid urbanization that occurred after World War II. These laws established stricter zoning and building regulations to control development and preserve historical areas. However, because Italy's government is decentralized, the enforcement of these regulations has varied across regions. This has led to some irregularities, particularly with older properties or those in rural areas where building permits and property titles might not fully comply with current laws, posing potential risks for buyers. So, if you are an American or if you are a foreign buyer, older type properties in Italy, they have a certain appeal and they have a certain value, obviously the historical nature, and it's understandable why somebody might be considering buying an older type of property in Italy. And as I've just stated after reading the excerpt from that was provided to me by ChatGPT, there's risks associated with it. So the question is, so what's done? Before I go into how a property can be proven that it existed before 1967, I just want to say that my aim really is to provide you with the necessary knowledge so that if you're talking to an agent or if you're talking to an engineer or an architect or any other body regarding the purchasing of a property in Italy, they don't just think that you're some naive person who doesn't know anything. Because if they do, then they could say anything thinking that you will believe them and take advantage of that situation. And I think that's wrong. And I also think that it's correct that foreigners, foreign buyers, those from America, there's a very large demand from Americans to buy property in Italy. And many, in fact, there are many that are already expats that are living here from the US and from the UK. I'm from the UK. I'm an expat here, and so I'm from other countries in the world. And so in this day and age, I think with the access we have to information, I think it's absolutely imperative that we furnish ourselves with knowledge around things like this in Italy. So how do you provide, or how does one establish whether a property was built before 1967? There's actually many ways that can be done, and I'll just go through some of them right now with you. The first one that comes to my mind is the building may possess the characteristics of an old building. So the way it looks, the material that was used to build it, and the design, the style of the building could be indicative on the period in which the property was built. And that's really important. And if that can be ratified by, let's say, an architect, then, that would form a very strong piece of evidence. Another way that it can be proven or demonstrated that the property existed is if the property was rented, for example, there may well be a tenancy contract in place, or a historical one even, where it shows that because obviously the contract will be dated, shows that an individual or family or whoever was living in the property at the time. That's another way that somebody can prove that a property existed. The third way, and there's one more, but the third way is something called sworn statements. And in the UK, these are sometimes known as statutory declarations, and globally, these are sometimes called affidavits. And these are essentially sworn statements by individuals who testify on paper in front of a lawyer or a witness of certain facts. And they will be, as an example, I testify that this building, I was next door to this building. I'm just giving an example. And it existed back in 1920 or whenever, and if it's found that was untrue, then I risk of going to prison. So this type of evidence of sworn statements, statutory declarations and affidavits, they do carry some weight. Let me give you the last example, and that's for this particular property where I'm recording this video from, which is located in Donulugata Beach. And so when we acquired, or going through the process of acquiring this property, the seller and the agent relied on military aerial diagrams, which showed satellite diagrams, which showed the position and the border line around this property from the sky. So that was a formal document that was accepted by the notary, notaio, regarding the existence of this property in 1966, just 1 year before 1967. By the way, the actual date of this law, which is called Legge Ponte, was put in place or came into force on August the 6th, 1967. I want to continue to record more videos, furnish you with factual information, legal type of information, which is really important if you're thinking about buying a property in Italy and moving to Italy as an expat. And so please do stay tuned for more content coming through this channel your way. In this particular video, this was the only topic that I wanted to cover. So I hope you all have a great day ahead, and may peace be upon you all. Bye for now.